Welcome. This is Polish edition of Polska Fika. Of course, it's English edition of Polska Fika. It's a special Christmas edition. Welcome and follow me.
Hi and welcome to this Christmas special edition of our program. My name is Adrianna Janiszewska and I am your host today. On December 24th, Poles celebrate Christmas Eve, the so-called Wigilia, gathering at our tables to share warmth and talk with friends and family. While this is a magical time of the year, there are some, especially international students, who during this period are far from home and traditions and are alone in a foreign land. But it appears that it does not have to be the case, as the University of Łódź offers a perfect solution, an initiative called Christmas Guest. In today's program, we will take a closer look at this initiative with its biggest supporter and one of the professors at this university, Jarosław Płuciennik.
Yes, it started in 2016, if I remember well. This year, it will be 7th edition of this program. It's called Christmas Guest in English, but actually in Polish is Gość na Gwiazdkę. And it started in the framework of a project called University Diversity. We started to receive more and more international students. Now, University of Łódź, LODZ for foreigners, University of Łódź is in the middle of Poland and it has 2,600 people from 95 countries. So it's quite a lot if we take into consideration that we have 30,000 students. So no one should be left alone for Christmas because there is a cultural thing included in it. I mean, this is not necessary to have religious feelings in this time, and it's not necessary to show any religious devotion, but we have in Polish tradition very, very nice and very kind and tolerant custom to have additional set at our Christmas Eve table for occasional guests, and this could be filled in real terms, so it could be filled with real persons. The idea which I joined in 2016, so it's from the beginning my family joined the project because we understood that university diversity, as we called this in the past, this is quite important idea for development of international studies in Łódź.
Piggybacking on what you have just said, is this family-like environment important? Is it like a key factor when it comes to the functioning of, for example, universities?
Regularly speaking, of course not. I mean, family is usually left alone in case of many international students. Those students which live in a very far countries like India or some countries in Africa, they cannot afford to go for Christmas to their homes, and that's very sad, of course, and that's the occasion to make them feel at home for a while. And it's not necessary to have them in this program at Christmas Eve. It could be, and it was actually at our family once we invited one person during the Christmas Eve, and the second two persons came to our home on Christmas Day. or the second Christmas Day. It varies from year to year because sometimes it's difficult to invite for Christmas Eve, but they appreciate anyway because, Christmas Eve is very peculiar for Polish customs and perhaps Scandinavian customs. But in the English-speaking world, the main focus is on the Christmas days. First and the second so-called Boxing Days in English. So this is understood by students that we invite them for the very particular time, and it's not necessary to give them this Christmas Eve experience, but it happened in the past that some of them were invited on Christmas Eve and some other on Christmas Day. So that's the feeling is that they are guests in the Polish houses and they feel more comfortable during the, winter dark times when there is a longing for light and warmth and people communication.
You don't have to be alone this Christmas. In today's special edition of our program, together with Professor Jarosław Płuciennik, we talk about a unique initiative organized by the University of Łódź.
As this program enters its seventh edition, is it popular among students and teachers of the university? Have you maybe noticed that each year there are more and more people who are willingly applying to take part in this campaign?
I don't know about a percentage, but I think the last edition last year was more or less 90 people involved from international students, because we have thousands of students from foreign countries, but not everybody is interested in such arrangements, because some of them are traveling through Poland at that time. Some of them are going back to home, because if you are living in Europe, in Spain, for instance, it's easier to go to Spain for Christmas, for instance. But if you are from India or Ethiopia, that's not very easy. So I don't know about the development, but I think it's raising. And from the beginning, actually, our rectors are engaged in this, and our rectors and faculty members inviting persons. So more and more PhD students are getting into the program. I think it's growing, and the impact should be mentioned of openness after the war in Ukraine. I mean, that was huge. Actually, of course, it wasn't connected with this program, but the openness which was shown by the Polish homes was huge.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I really like the idea that, when it comes to all the Christmas traditions or different holidays, the roots of that is just simply being a good human being, and sort of you like incorporated that into this campaign. And how was it with you? Because I know that you somehow enrolled to this program and you were a host back in the day. So can you share your experiences on this matter? What was it like to guest a foreign student during this very like family time at your own house?
If it's family time, sometimes we change the arrangements because, for instance, our family, not all family members are speaking English, and we invited English-speaking guests. Anyway, it was a very good experience for our sons, which were growing and which were learning English, but also other cultures. Having opportunity to speak in English at the Christmas table, that's a very good opportunity. But to learn other nations' situation, for instance, for me it was quite a shock when we invited a student from Ethiopia, and she studied management at our university, and I learned that in Ethiopia a woman might expect to live just 50 so years. This is the regular situation. On the other hand, Ethiopia is one of the most precious places for the ancient Christianity. So it was both experience of learning current situation of the country. You know, we talked during the Christmas time about Haile Selassie and Rastafarians, but we learned about each other, and that was huge experience. And the same when we invited two guys from India, and one of them was Muslim and the other was Hindu. That was great situation because, you know, regularly the cultures are in strife in India now. I mean, they are in conflict, and they met at our house and they were friends. They filled our house with warm atmosphere. You know, my son, younger son, is a harpist, and he presented some songs. One of the students sang for us spiritual songs. So it was not just traditional Polish Christmas Eve kolendy, which is more or less carols, but not exactly. But he presented something for their country. We were impressed.
Yeah, for sure. I am impressed just by listening to your story. I mean, that must have been quite an experience. So from what I understand, you've tried to incorporate the cultural customs of those invited people, right? Just to make them feel maybe more at home?
Of course, and they tried also to incorporate it because, for instance, one of the Indian guys brought with him a special sweet from India, which is too sweet for our senses, but it was a great experience to experience it. I mean, I'm quite accustomed to kind of fusion Christmas because, for instance, I spent some Christmas in Sweden as well, so I know their Christmas and around Christmas customs. So I made special Swedish cookies for this occasion. But anyway, there were some Polish special meals. And we had Indian dessert because he was incorporating his customs into our Christmas. So that was great.
But you mentioned a couple of different students. So how many times have you taken part in this action?
We had 6 times. That's the 7th edition, which is not yet decided because we have several plans. But I participated from the beginning, and every edition we joined. I thank all my family for accepting this idea because not all my family is connected with the university. So it's it's very great that they want to mix with the environment of University of Łódź, and I'm very proud of University of Łódź. And so it's good to have continuation of this university diversity idea. And I participated in every edition. Actually, my family participated in every edition. Some editions were filled with this because we had 3 guests on one edition.
What was it like for your family to be around those people, those strangers during this Christmas time?
For my wife, is obvious communication in English because she's an academic working at Polish Academy of Science. So it's a regular meeting with other people communicating in English. So it's great experience. But for my older son, who is a student himself now, that was great opportunity to talk in English. He spent some time with us in Cambridge, so he knew some international environment in the colleges in England. But anyway, that was a kind of prolongation of this experience in the international college. On the other hand, the younger son who played the harp, he was enjoying the playful character of another Indian guy who made friends with him. And that was great. I mean, it's different, but it teaches you that human encounter or human experience is better if you are opening for unexpected.
That's a great summary of this initiative called Christmas Guest, organized by the University of Łódź. Thank you so much for this incredible conversation. It was an eye-opening discussion, I would say. So thank you so much for this. And of course, have a happy, jolly Christmas.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. As I said, I'm very proud of the University of Łódź that we have such a program. So university diversity fits very, very well into the Christmas time. And enjoy your Christmas as well. Have a good time.
W żłobie leży, któż pobieży kolędować małemu Jezusowi, Chrystusowi, dziś nam narodzonemu. Pastuszkowie, przybywajcie, Jemu wdzięcznie przygrywajcie, jako Panu naszemu. Pastuszkowie, przybywajcie, Jemu wdzięcznie przygrywajcie, jako Panu naszemu. My zaś sami z piosneczkami za wami pospieszymy, a takiego maleńkiego niech wszyscy zobaczymy, jak ubogo narodzony, płacze w stajni położony, więc go dziś zobaczymy, jak ubogo narodzony, płacze w stajni położony, więc go dziś ucieszymy.
This is Radio Poland's Christmas Special Edition. I'm Adrianna Janiszewska, your today's host.
Today, Christmas is celebrated all over the world. We have been waiting for this particular moment, I think, since the end of October, and finally we are here. And it can be said without a doubt that each country has its own customs. But what about those places where this special day for us is actually not a big deal somewhere else? We will answer this question together with our guest today, Milan Sutar, a journalism student from India living in Warsaw. Hi, Milan. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Hello. nice to be here.
Let's get to the chase.
The first time when you came to Poland, was it like a surprise for you? This whole holiday season, this kind of Christmas hysteria that is going on before Christmas itself?
Yeah, actually coming from a very different culture, because in India, we don't have large Christian community and we don't celebrate Christmas that much. And especially I'm Hindu and we have different religion and different festivals. So it was a really huge cultural difference when I was seeing everyone buying Christmas trees. Shops were almost full of people buying different stuff for families and friends. People were going on long vacations. It was kind of very different for me, and because I was not able to go home, and it's kind of sad and happy at the same time, because you see people are so happy around you and then you are not able to go home. So yeah,
it is kind of depressing, I must say, that everyone around you is so happy, so joyful, and here you are on your own. But did maybe your Polish friends explain some of these behaviors, traditions that we have during this holiday season, that we, for example, buy Christmas trees, gifts, and even organize Christmas dinner just for our friends before Christmas Eve, the so-called the śledzik party?
Actually, during my first year in Poland, I was totally not aware about it and I had no Polish friends. But slowly, I was working in different places and I made some Polish friends. I was also working in actually a part-time job in a Polish restaurant. So once they organized a really big Christmas party and they introduced to me like all these Polish Christmas dishes. Yeah, for example, barsh, some special kind of dumplings, pierogis. It was kind of really new to me, and slowly I felt good because I saw that they are trying to show me their culture, and I felt like a part of this different culture.
Yeah, like you were a part of this community, which is amazing actually to hear. I'm so glad that had happened. But also, what was your first impression on the fact that during 25th of December, all of the shopping centers were actually are closed? Like, what was your first reaction?
Actually, I was quite shocked because in India, usually during large festivals, everything is open and people are buying stuff. Even in our largest, biggest holidays, everything is open. And I was quite shocked that all the shops and even the grocery stores are closed for straight 3 days. So it was kind of tough to manage everything beforehand because you're usually busy and stuff. So yeah, it was quite difficult.
That must have been a shock at first, but I hope that now it's like an everyday life for you. In a short moment, we will talk about costumes from India and their biggest holidays. So stay tuned.
Oj, maluśki, 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 kiedy rękawicka albo lites jakoby kawałeczek smyczka. Czy nie lepiej tobie by siedzieć było w niebie, być twój tatuś kochany nie wyganiał ciebie. Śpiewajcie, zigrajcie smutno.
Christmas in India
Yes, it can happen, but because the Christian community in this country is not as large as, for example, in Poland, such a day is a normal day for most people. But, of course, you can see some Christmas decorations in this country. Milan, I am very curious about December 24th and 25th in India.
It's quite different because the place where I come from, I have some Christian friends, and I see when there is Christmas in India because it's totally different because here Christmas trees are must thing, right? In each and every home, in shopping malls and stuff. But in India, Christian usually in some part of India that Christmas trees are not must. They will just find any tree that they can decorate, near their house, and they will just decorate it. For example, if there is a mango tree or a banana tree, they will just decorate it. We have different decoration as well in different places. For example, we have this stars, they hung it over the trees and stuff. So it's quite different from where I come from. The decoration here is quite amusing. I really love it.
The idea of decorating a banana tree, you said? I love that, I must say. I know that you're not a Christian yourself, but can you give us another example of Christmas traditions in your country? Because as you said before, it's quite different from what we're used to.
Yeah, actually, it's quite different because in India, we don't have very large populations of Christians. Only in specific parts of India, we have almost like 2.3% of Christian population in India. And people usually go to midnight masses in churches because that's what I have heard from my friends. I have never been there because for obvious reasons. And that's what they said, that they usually go to midnight masses. And sometimes they also put a small lamp over their house to show that Jesus is the light and the hope of the world. So to show their neighbors that, this festival means a lot to them.
What about your holidays that are very important to most Hindu people?
We have our own Hindu festival called Diwali, and it's called the Festival of Light, and it's connected to our god Rama. We usually burn firecrackers, and after Diwali is our Hindu New Year, which comes in November, somewhere at the first or second week of November. It usually depends on our Hindu calendar because it's quite different than the Georgian calendar. We have really long vacations during November. There is like really long vacation in schools as well. We go to our relatives. We give gifts to each other, receive gifts.
You mentioned the New Year Eve, and you said that it's way different from what it looks like in Poland. So can you explain that?
We actually celebrate 2 New Years. First is this, according to the Georgian calendar, we usually go to the parties and stuff and do somewhat similar stuff. If you're living in a city, then you do all this stuff. But during our Hindu calendar's New Year, we don't actually celebrate New Year's Eve. We celebrate the first day of the New Year, and we go to our relatives' houses, we meet each other, we go to the temples, pray to the God. Also, children's receive some kind of gift, but in the form of money, like in an envelope. Elderly people like our parents, our grandparents, they give us some blessings and money on the New Year's.
Milan Sutar was our guest today, a journalism student from India. And that brought us to the end of this Christmas special. Thank you for listening. I'm Adrianna Janiszewska. Take care, and as always, stay tuned.
Przybierzeli do Betlejem pasterze, grają skocznie dzieciąteczku na lirze. Chwała na wysokości, chwała na wysokości, a pokój na ziemi. Chwała na wysokości, chwała na wysokości, a pokój na ziemi. Oddawali swe ukłony w pokorze, Tobie serca ochotnego, o Boże. Chwała na wysokości, chwała na wysokości, a pokój na ziemi. Chwała na wysokości, chwała na wysokości, a pokój na ziemi. Ojciec mi sam ogłosił te dziwy, których oni nie słyszeli jak żywi. Chwała na wysokości, chwała na wysokości, a pokój na ziemi. Chwała na wysokości, chwała na wysokości, a pokój na ziemi. Chwała na wysokości, a pokój na ziemi. Chwała na wysokości, chwała na wysokości, a pokój na ziemi. Chwała na wysokości, chwała na wysokości, a pokój na ziemi. Chwała na wysokości, chwała na wysokości, a pokój na ziemi. Chwała na wysokości, chwała na wysokości, a pokój na ziemi. Chwała na wysokości, chwała na wysokości, a